Hello, I'm reading from Autobiography of Yogi. I'm starting at the end of the first paragraph on page 336. Rama was suddenly put to a severe test, Sri Yutaswar continued. He contracted the disease of Asiatic cholera. As our master never objected to the services of physicians at times of serious illness, two specialists were summoned. Amidst the frantic rush of ministering to the stricken man, I was deeply praying to Lahara Messiah for help. I hurried to his home and sobbed out the story. The doctors are seeing Rama. He will be well. My guru smiled jovially. I returned with a light heart to my friend's bedside only to find him in a dying state. He cannot last more than 1 or 2 hours, one of the physicians told me with a gesture of despair. Once more I hastened to Lahara Messiah. The doctors are conscientious men, I'm sure. Rama will be well. The master dismissed me blithely. At Rama's place I found both doctors gone. One had left me a note. We have done our best, but his case is hopeless. My friend was indeed the picture of a dying man. I did not understand how Lahari Messiah's words could fail to come true. Yet the sight of Rama's rapidly ebbing life kept suggesting to my mind, all is over now. Tossing thus on alternating waves of faith and doubt, I administered to my friend as best I could. He roused himself to cry out, Yutaswar, run to master and tell him I am gone. Ask him to bless my body before its last rites. With these words, Rama sighed heavily and gave up the ghost. I wept for an hour by his bedside. Always a lover of quiet, now he had attained the ultimate stillness of death. Another disciple came in. I asked him to remain in the house until I returned. Half dazed, I trudged back to my guru. How is Rama now? Lahari Messiah's face was wreathed in smiles. Sir, you will soon see how he is, I blurted out emotionally. In a few hours you will see his body before it is carried to the ceremonial grounds. I broke down and moaned openly. Yutaswar, control yourself. Sit calmly and meditate. The guru retired into samadhi. The afternoon and night passed in broken silence. I struggled unsuccessfully to regain an inner composure. At dawn, Lahari Messiah glanced at me consolingly. I see you are still disturbed. Why didn't you explain yesterday that you expected me to give Rama tangible aid in the form of some medicine? The master pointed to a cup-shaped lamp containing crude castor oil. Fill a little bottle of oil from the lamp. Put 7 drops in Rama's mouth. Sir, I remonstrated, he has been dead since yesterday noon. What use is the oil now? Never mind, just do as I ask. My guru's cheerful mood was incomprehensible to me. I was still in an unassuaged agony of bereavement. Pouring out a small amount of oil, I departed to Rama's house. I found my friend's body rigid in the death clasp. Paying no attention to his ghastly condition, I opened his lips with my right index finger and managed with my left hand and the help of the cork to put the oil drop by drop over his clenched teeth. As the 7th drop touched his cold lips, Rama shivered violently. His muscles from head to foot vibrated as he sat up wonderingly. I saw Lahari Messiah in a blaze of light, he cried. He shone like the sun. Arise, forsake your sleep, he commanded me. Come with Yutaswar. I saw Lahari Messiah in a blaze of light, he cried. He shone like the sun. Arise, forsake your sleep, he commanded me. Come with Yutaswar to see me. I could scarcely believe my eyes when Rama dressed himself and was strong enough after that fatal sickness to walk to the home of our guru. There he prostrated himself before Lahara Masaya with tears of gratitude. The master was beside himself with mirth. His eyes twinkled at me mischievously. "Yutaswar," he said, "surely henceforth you will not fail to carry with you a bottle of castor oil. Whenever you see a corpse, just administer the oil. Why, 7 drops of lamp oil must surely foil the power of Yama." "Guruji, you are ridiculing me. I don't understand. Please point out the nature of my error." "I told you twice that Rama would be well, yet you could not fully believe me," Lahari Masaya explained. "I did not mean the doctors would be able to cure him. I remarked only that they were in attendance. I didn't want to interfere with the physicians. They have to live too." In a voice resounding with joy, my guru added, "Always know that the omnipotent Paramatman can heal anyone, doctor or no doctor." "I see my mistake," I acknowledge remorsefully. "I know now that your simple word is binding on the whole cosmos." As Sri Yutaswar finished the awesome story, one of the Ranchi lands ventured a question that, from a child, was doubly understandable. "Sir," he said, "why did your guru send castor oil?" "Child, giving the oil had no special meaning, because I had expected something material. Lahara Masaya chose the nearby oil as an objective symbol to awaken my greater faith. The master allowed Rama to die because I had partially doubted, but the divine guru knew that inasmuch as he had said the disciple would be well, the healing must take place, even though he had to cure Rama of death, a disease usually final. Sri Yutaswar dismissed the little group and motioned me to a blanket seat at his feet. "Yogananda," he said with unusual gravity, "you have been surrounded from birth by direct disciples of Lahari Masaya. The great master lived his sublime life in partial seclusion and steadfastly refused to permit his followers to build any organization around his teachings. He made nevertheless a significant prediction. About 50 years after my passing," he said, "an account of my life will be written because of deep interest in yoga that will arise in the West. The message of yoga will encircle the globe. It will aid in establishing the brotherhood of man, a unity based on humanity's direct perception of the One Father." "My son," Yogananda Sri Yutaswar went on, "you must do your part in spreading that message and in writing that sacred life." 50 years after Lahara Masaya's passing in 1895, culminated in 1945, the year of completion of this present book, I cannot but be struck by the coincidence that the year 1945 also ushered in a new age, the era of the revolutionary atomic energies. All thoughtful minds turn as never before to the urgent problems of peace and brotherhood, lest the continued use of physical force banish all men along with the problems. Though the works of the human race disappear tracelessly by time or bomb, the sun does not falter in its course. The stars keep their invariable vigil. Cosmic law cannot be stayed or changed, and man would do well to put himself in harmony with it. If the cosmos is against might, if the sun wars not in the heavens but retires at dutiful time to give the stars their little sway, what avails our mailed fist? Shall any peace come out of it? Not cruelty but goodwill upholds the universal sinews. A humanity of peace will know the endless fruits of victory, sweeter to the taste than any nurtured on the soil of blood. The effective League of Nations will be a natural, nameless league of human hearts. The broad sympathies and discerning insight needed for the healing of earthly woes cannot flow from a mere intellectual consideration of human diversities, but from knowledge of man's deepest unity, kinship with God. Toward realization of the world's highest ideal, peace through brotherhood, may yoga, the science of personal communion with the divine, spread in time to all men in all lands. Though India possesses a civilization more ancient than that of any other country, a few historians have noted that her feat of survival is by no means an accident, but a logical incident in the record of devotion to the eternal varieties that India has offered through her best men in every generation. By sheer continuity of being, by intransivity before the ages, parentheses, can dusty scholars truly tell us how many? India has given the worthiest answer of any people to the challenge of time. The biblical story of Abraham's plea to the Lord, Genesis 18:23-32, that the city of Sodom be spared if 10 righteous men could be found therein, and the divine reply, I will not destroy it for 10's sake, gains new meaning in light of India's escape from oblivion. Gone are the empires of mighty nations skilled in the arts of war that once were India's contemporaries, ancient Egypt, Babylonia, Greece, and Rome. The Lord's answer clearly shows that a land lives not on its material achievements, but in its masterpieces of man. Let the divine words be heard again. In its 20th century, twice dyed in blood ere half over. No nation that can produce 10 men who are great in the eyes of the unbribable judge shall know extinction. Heeding such persuasions, India has proved herself not witless against the thousand cunnings of time. Self-realized masters in every century have hallowed her soil. Modern Christ-like sages like Lahari Messiah and Sri Yukteswar rise up to proclaim that a knowledge of yoga, the science of God realization, is vital to man's happiness and a nation's longevity. Very scanty information about the life of Lahari Messiah and his universal doctrine have ever appeared in print. For 3 decades in India, America, and Europe, I have found a deep and sincere interest in his message of liberating yoga. A written account of the Master's life, even as he foretold, is now needed in the West, where lives of the great modern yogis are little known. Lahari Messiah was born in September 30th, 1828, into a pious Brahmin family of ancient lineage. His birthplace was the village of Gurhani in the Nadia district near Krishnanagar, Bengal. He was the only son of Muktakhashi, second wife of the esteemed Gaur Mohan Lahari, whose first wife, after the birth of 3 sons, had died during a pilgrimage. The boy's mother passed away during his childhood. We have little information about her except a revealing fact. She was an ardent devotee of Lord Shiva, scripturally designated the king of yogis. The boy, whose full name was Shyamacharan Lahari, spent his early years at the ancestral home of Gurhani. At the age of 3 or 4, he was often observed sitting under the sands in a certain yoga posture, his body completely hidden except for his head. The Lahari estate was destroyed in the winter of 1833 by the nearby Jalangi River, changed its course and disappeared into the depths of the Ganges. One of the Shiva temples founded by the Laharis went into the river along with the family home. A devotee rescued the stone image of Lord Shiva from the swirling waters and placed it in a new temple, now well known as the Garuni Shiva site. Gar Mohan Lahari and his family left Guni and became residents of Benares, where the father immediately erected a Shiva temple. He conducted his household along the lines of Vedic discipline with regular observances of ceremonial worship, acts of charity, and scriptural study. Just and open-minded, however, he did not ignore the beneficial current of modern ideas. The boy Lahari took lessons in Hindi and Urdu in Benares study groups. He attended a school conducted by Joy Naranya Ghoshal, receiving instruction in Sanskrit, Bengali, French, and English. Applying himself to a close study of the Vedas, the young yogi listened eagerly to scriptural discussions by learned Brahmins, including a Maharahata Pandit named Nag Bhatt. Shyama Charan was a kind, gentle, and courageous youth, beloved by all his companions. With a well-proportioned, healthy, and powerful body, he excelled in swimming and in many feats of manual skill. In 1846, Shyama Charan Lahari was married to Sri Mati Kashimani, daughter of Sri Debnarayan Sanyal, a model Indian housewife. Kashimani cheerfully performed her home duties and observed the householder's obligation to serve guests and the poor. Two saintly sons, Tenkori and Dukori, and two daughters blessed the union. At the age of 23 in 1851, Lahari Masaya took the post of accountant in the military engineering department of the British government. He received many promotions during the time of his service. Thus, not only was he a master before God's eyes, but also a success in the little human drama in which he played a humble role as an office worker in the world. At various times, the engineering department transferred Lahari Masaya to its offices in Ghazipur, Mirzapur, Naini Tal, Danapur, and Benares. After the death of his father, the young man assumed responsibility for the members of his entire family. He bought for them a home in the secluded Garundeswar Mahalla neighborhood of Benares. It was in his 33rd year that Lahari Masaya saw fulfillment of the purpose for which he had reincarnated on earth. He met his great guru, Babaji, near Rani Kahet in the Himalayas, and was initiated by him into Kriya Yoga. This auspicious event did not happen to Lahari Masaya alone. It was a fortunate moment for all the human race. The lost and long vanished highest art of yoga was again being brought to light. Yet, as the Ganges came from heaven to earth in the Puranic story, offering a divine drought to the parched devotee Bharath, so in 1861 the celestial river of Kriya Yoga began to flow from the sacred fastness of Himalayas into the dusty haunts of men. Chapter 33. Babaji, Yogi Christ of Modern India. The northern Himalayan crags near Badrinarayan are still blessed by the living presence of Babaji, Guru of Lahari Masaya. The secluded master has retained his physical form for centuries, perhaps for millenniums. The deathless Babaji is an avatara. This Sanskrit word means descent. Its roots are ava, down, and tri, to pass. In Hindu scriptures, avatara signifies the descent of divinity into flesh. Babaji's spiritual state is beyond human comprehension, Suryutswar explained to me. The dwarfed vision of men cannot pierce its transcendental star. One attempts in vain even to picture the avatar's attainment. It is inconceivable. The Upanishads have minutely classified every stage of spiritual advancement. A siddha, perfected being, has progressed from the state of jivanmukta, freed while living, to that of paramukta, supremely free, full power over death. The latter has completely escaped from the Mayic thraldom and its reincarnational round. The paramukta therefore seldom returns to a physical body. If he does return, he is an avatar, a divinely appointed medium of supernatural blessings on the world. An avatar is unsubject to the universal economy. His pure body, visible as a light image, is free from any debt to nature. The casual gaze may see nothing extraordinary in an avatar's form. On occasion, it casts no shadow nor makes any footprint on the ground. These are outward symbolic proofs of an inward freedom from darkness and material bondage. Such a God-man alone knows the truth behind the relativities of life and death. Omar Khayyam, so grossly misunderstood, sang of its liberated man in the immortal scripture Rubaiyat. Ah, moon of my delight, who knowest no wane, the moon of heaven is rising once again. How oft hereafter rising shall she look through this same garden after me in vain. The moon of delight, who knowest no wane, is God, eternal Polaris, anachronos never. The moon of heaven rising once again is the outward cosmos fettered in the law of periodic recurrence. Through self-realization, the Persian seer had forever freed himself from the compulsory returns to earth, the garden of nature, or Maya. How oft hereafter rising shall she look after me in vain? What frustration of search by a wandering universe for an absolute omission. Christ expressed his freedom in another way. And a certain scribe came and said to him, Master, I will follow thee whithersoever thou goest. And Jesus said unto him, The foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath not where to lay his head. That's Matthew 8:19-20. Spacious with omnipresence, could Christ indeed be followed except by the overarching spirit? Krishna, Rama, Buddha, and Pantajali were among the ancient Indian avatars. A considerable poetic literature in Tamil has grown up around Agastya, a South Indian avatar. He worked many miracles during the centuries preceding and following the Christian era, and is credited with retaining his physical form even to this day. Babaji's mission in India has been to assist prophets in carrying out their special dispensations. He thus qualifies for the scriptural classification of Maha-avatar, parentheses, great avatar. He has stated that he gave yoga initiation to Shankara, reorganizer of the Swami order, and to Kabir, famous medieval master. A chief 19th century disciple was, as we know, Lahari Masaya, revivalist of the lost Kriya art. Babaji is ever in communion with Christ. Together they send out vibrations of redemption and have planned the spiritual technique of salvation for this age. The work of those two fully illumined masters, one with a body and one without a body, is to inspire the nations to forsake wars, race hatreds, religious sectarianism, and the boomerang evils of materialism. Babaji is well aware of the trend of modern times, especially of the influence and complexities of Western civilization, and realizes the necessity of spreading the self-liberations of yoga equally in the West and the East. That there is no historical reference to Babaji need not surprise us. The great guru has never openly appeared in any century. The misinterpreting glare of publicity has no place in his millennial plans. Like the Creator, the sole but silent power, Babaji works in humble obscurity. Great prophets like Christ and Krishna come to earth for a specific and spectacular purpose. They depart as soon as it is accomplished. Other avatars like Babaji undertake work that is concerned more with the slow evolutionary progress of man during the centuries than with any one outstanding event of history. Such masters always veil themselves from the gross public gaze and have the power to become invisible at will. For these reasons, and because they generally instruct their disciples to maintain silence about them, a number of towering spiritual figures remain world unknown. I give in these pages on Babaji merely a hint of his life, only a few facts that he deems fitting and helpful to be publicly imparted. No limiting facts about Babaji's family or birthplace, dear to the analyst's heart, have ever been discovered. His speech is generally in Hindi, but he converses easily in any language. He has adopted the simple name of Babaji, Reverend Father. Other titles of respect given him by Lahari Messiah's disciples are Mahamuni Babaji, Maharaja, Supreme Ecstatic Master, Mahayogi, the Great Yogi, and Trambak Baba or Shiva Baba, titles of avatars of Shiva. Does it matter that we know not the patronymic of a fully realized master? Whenever anyone utters with reverence the name of Babaji, Lamara Os has said, the devotee attracts an instant spiritual blessing. The deathless guru bears no marks of age on his body. He appears to be a youth with not more than 25, fair-skinned, of medium build and height. Babaji's beautiful, strong body radiates a perceptible glow. His eyes are dark, calm, and tender. His long, lustrous hair is copper-colored. Sometimes Babaji's face closely resembles that of Lahari Messiah. On occasion, the similarity was so striking that Lahari Messiah in his later years might have passed as the father of the youthful Babaji. Swami Kebhalananda, my saintly Sanskrit tutor, spent some time with Babaji in the Himalayas. The peerless master moves with his group from place to place in the mountains, Kebhalananda told me. His small band contains 2 highly advanced American disciples. After Babaji has been in one locality for some time, he says, Dira Danda Uthao, let us lift our camp and staff. He carries a danda, bamboo staff. His words are the signal for moving with his group instantaneously to another place. He does not always employ this method of astral travel. Sometimes he goes on foot from peak to peak. Babaji can be seen or recognized by others only when he so desires. He is known to have appeared in many slightly different forms to various devotees, sometimes with beard and mustache and sometimes without them. Okay, that's it. That's the bottom of page 348. Thanks for listening. Bye.